Okay, let's start this deep dive with a question that really cuts to the chase right from our source material. Why do others seem to attract wealth while I work twice as hard?
Yeah, it's a powerful opener. It sort of challenges that whole idea that getting wealthy is just about luck.
Exactly. It throws that right out the window.
And what's really interesting, I think, is how this philosophy completely reframes wealth itself. It's not something you stumble into. It's not a favor. The idea is wealth is commanded by law.
Commanded by law.
Okay, so if you listening right now feel like you're working incredibly hard but not getting anywhere, the sources argue you're not lazy. Not at all. You're just, well, undirected.
Undirected. I like that framing. So our mission today is what exactly? Is to really unpack that formula, to extract these 7 specific mental laws that apparently govern how success, especially financial success, is actually created. The promise is pretty bold. Guaranteed result if you follow them. All right, let's get into this framework then, because the core idea seems to be that every single dollar, every big success story, it all started as just a thought, a specific thought.
Precisely, not luck, not even just pure labor initially, but a seed of definite thought.
And these 7 principles are basically the how-to guide, like how to plant that seed, water it, protect it.
Yeah, how to cultivate it. It's about transforming your whole mindset, really.
Okay, so where do we start? What's the first step in planting this seed? Well, principle 1 is the seed of definite purpose. The universe, or whatever you want to call it, apparently doesn't respond well to vague wishes. It needs specifics. It obeys the definite, right? Clarity is key. And the sources are really specific about how you get clear, aren't they? It's not just thinking about it.
No, absolutely not. It starts with ink. That's the word they use.
Ink. So writing it down.
Exactly. Until your purpose is actually written down, spelled out, repeated, you're just kind of wandering around with wishes. You're not building anything concrete.
And what needs to be in writing? What are the specifics? 3 things, clearly defined. 1, the exact amount of money you want. 2, the deadline, the time you intend to have it by. And 3, what service or value you're going to provide in return. That's very specific. It reminds me of that story about Andrew Carnegie and Napoleon Hill in the source material.
The challenge.
Yeah, Carnegie basically told Hill, write down your life's purpose and then repeat it. Repeat it until it's so ingrained that, well, the world has no choice but to make it real.
It wasn't just like a motivational poster thing. It was presented as setting a direct command for your subconscious mind, an unshakable order.
Okay, so you have the definite purpose written down. That's the seed. What's next? That brings us right to principle 2. The soil must be prepared with faith. The thought, the purpose, that's the seed, but faith, that's the fertile ground it needs to grow in. So a thought without faith is useless.
Like a dry root in dead ground is how they put it. Yeah. And this faith isn't just like wishful thinking or blind hope. It's described as a kind of spiritual certainty.
Okay, spiritual certainty. How do you build that? Especially when things aren't going well. Through repetition, deliberate repetition of that purpose, and making an aggressive decision to believe. The formula is simple. Thoughts plus faith equals prosperity. But that leap feels huge. You mentioned failure feels like defeat for most people.
Yeah.
The sources use Thomas Edison, right?
Yeah.
Failing thousands of times with the light bulb.
10,000 times, yeah. But the point is, he reportedly never spoke defeat. He acted as if success was inevitable.
So how did he do that? What's the practical trick there, according to this philosophy?
It's internal. He lived in the certainty of that light bulb long before it actually glowed. Faith, in this context, is an active, aggressive decision. You choose to walk, talk, and act as if the thing you want is already yours.
Even when current reality seems to contradict it completely.
Especially then. You build faith by consistently aligning your actions and words with the future you're commanding, not the temporary present.
Okay, so we've planted the seed of purpose in the soil of faith. Now we move on to cultivating it.
Exactly.
Which leads us to principle 3, which is obey the law of planting, not wishing. You can't just wish for a harvest. You have to actively cultivate the field. And the field is the mind.
The mind, yes. You have to be an intentional gardener of your thoughts. Idle thinking, just letting anything drift in. That's like letting weeds grow. It invites fear, doubt, stagnation.
So it's about actively directing your thoughts continuously.
Continuously. And there's this really core concept here they call the law of cosmic habit force.
Cosmic habit force.
Yes.
Okay, what's that?
It's the idea that thoughts you repeat over and over, especially when they're charged with belief, with that faith we talked about, they become automatic. They start directing your decisions, your actions, even your results, almost without you consciously trying.
Ah, like programming your subconscious.
Kind of, yeah. That's how founders like Henry Ford are described. Constantly planting the thought of efficiency, acting on it, even when things looked bleak, until it just became his reality.
And this needs to happen daily, right? There was a strong warning about being too busy.
A very strong warning. The idea is, if you think you're too busy for even 5 minutes a day to focus on your definite purpose, you're not actually building success. You're actively, if unintentionally, building failure on schedule. That daily rhythm is crucial.
Daily planting. What follows that? Action, which is principle 4. You must act as though the harvest is guaranteed. Action is described as the bridge. It's the proof of your belief. So faith isn't passive.
Not at all. Faith has to walk. It can't just sit around waiting for perfect conditions or for someone else to give permission.
But isn't that risky? We're often told to plan meticulously before acting. The source material seems to suggest jumping in sooner.
It suggests the path often becomes clear after you start moving, not before.
How do you avoid being reckless then?
You're guided by your internal law, that definite chief aim you wrote down, not by what other people think or waiting for all the lights to turn green. The key distinction is taking one definite action every single day towards that aim.
One concrete step.
Yes, and crucially, don't confuse planning with action. Planning is important, but the soil, the universe, whatever, it only responds when you actually plant the seed and water it, not when you just think about planting it. All right, so we've planted, we're cultivating with daily thought and action. Now we need to defend the field.
Defend it from what? Internal and external negativity, basically. Which brings us to principle 5. Wealth grows best in the silence of inner discipline. Silence. That seems counterintuitive in our noisy world. It does, doesn't it? But the idea is profound. A mind that's constantly reacting, constantly chattering, can never truly command anything. Big ideas, riches, they're conceived in silence, nurtured in solitude. So what does this discipline look like practically?
The sources recommend 15 to 30 minutes of complete silence every day, not just zoning out, but intentional quiet time to prepare, to focus, maybe even to, as they put it, receive instruction from infinite intelligence.
And the opposite of that silence, noise, is actively harmful.
Described as the destroyer of riches. Noise meaning not just sound, but mental clutter, gossip, endless arguments, emotional reactions, constant scrolling.
Okay, silence is one defense. What's next? Speech. Principle 6. Your spoken word is the water of wealth. How so? Water.
The idea is your subconscious mind takes orders. It responds to verbal law. What you say out loud with conviction is like giving instructions to the universe, or at least to your own deeper mind, to make it happen.
But hang on, this sounds a bit like, well, just positive thinking. If I'm buried in debt, saying I am wealthy 3 times a day feels artificial, maybe even delusional. How do they justify this as a law?
Well, the justification is that the law works both ways. It can't be mocked. If you constantly talk about your problems, your fears, your lack, you're basically rehearsing your poverty aloud.
So you're giving your subconscious instructions for failure.
Exactly.
You're commanding limitation, and the subconscious is very efficient at executing commands. That's why the ritual is specific. Speak your definite chief aim aloud, maybe 3 times daily, but crucially, with emotion, with fire, with certainty. You're not trying to fool anyone else.
No, you're convincing the only mind that truly matters for executing the plan, your own subconscious.
Got it. Okay, so silence, powerful speech. What's the final defense? Fear. Principle 7. You must defend the seed from fear. Fear is painted as the ultimate thief of progress. And it's sneaky, right? Disguised as being realistic or cautious.
Precisely. Common sense, even.
The sources list out the 6 main types. Fear of poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, old age, and death. So how do you fight fear? You can't just tell yourself not to be afraid.
No, the key insight is you don't reason with fear. You don't debate it. If you stop to argue with it, fear wins.
So what do? You replace it immediately. The moment fear pops up, you consciously replace that thought with a statement of your definite purpose. And even more powerfully, you act. Action is the antidote.
The ultimate antidote. Move through the fear. Take that next step towards your goal, no matter how small. Quick, decisive action based on principle leaves fear no room to take root. Okay, we've covered a lot. Planting the seed with purpose and faith, cultivating with repetition and action, and defending it with silence, speech, and overcoming fear. That seems pretty comprehensive. It is. But the source material saves its most potent warning, what it calls the highest law, for something else. Something external, incredibly common, that apparently destroys more dreams than failure ever could.
Really? More than failure? What could be worse than failing? Ignoring this highest law. The critical importance of silence about your plans, and the profound danger of careless talk. Careless talk. So, talking about your goals is bad.
In most cases, yes. Extremely damaging, according to this philosophy. It synthesizes all the other principles, because if you misuse your speech externally, you can cancel out all the internal work you've done.
Wow, okay, that goes against a lot of modern advice about accountability partners and sharing your goals. Why is talking so dangerous here?
The sources pinpoint 3 specific ways loose talk derails you. First is confusing expression with creation.
Meaning?
Meaning, when you rush to tell everyone about your great idea or your big plans before you're deeply committed, before you've really started, your mind gets a premature sense of accomplishment.
Like the talking becomes the action in your brain.
Exactly. It's counterfeit action. You get the applause, the validation, the, oh, that's amazing. And that feeling satisfies the initial drive. The actual energy, the fire needed to push through the hard parts later, it just dissipates, goes up in smoke.
Okay, that makes a scary amount of sense. What's the second danger?
Seeking sympathy, constantly complaining about how hard things are, detailing all the obstacles, looking for others to say, oh, poor you.
Why is that so bad? It feels human to vent.
Because complaint in this framework is literally prayer in reverse. You're instructing your subconscious, reinforcing the idea that you're a victim, that lack and hardship are your reality. Remember Edison after the lab fire? He didn't wallow, he saw opportunity. Complaining commands victimhood.
Prayer in reverse. That's a chilling phrase.
Right.
Okay, what's the third way talk kills dreams? This one might be the most insidious. Explaining to the doubtful. Trying to justify your vision to people who just don't get it.
Yes. The moment you feel the need to defend your dream, to debate its merits with someone who lacks faith or vision, you're essentially handing them authority over your own conviction.
You're letting their doubt chip away at your faith.
Precisely. Faith doesn't need to argue, it needs to act and demonstrate. Think of Lincoln, as the sources mention. He faced immense criticism, but he didn't waste energy debating every doubter. He acted and let history, the results, be his answer.
This rule of silence, though,
Yeah.
it seems really isolating. If you can't talk about your goals, how do you get feedback? How do you build synergy with others? Successful people don't usually work in a total vacuum, do they?
That's a crucial point, and there is one very specific exception to this law of silence.
Okay.
It's the concept of the mastermind.
The Mastermind Alliance.
Right. This is the only context where speech is described as multiplying power, not dissipating it. But it's not just any group of people.
It's not just a weekly networking meeting, then.
Far from it. It's described almost as a spiritual covenant, an alliance of two or more minds working in perfect harmony towards a definite purpose. This harmony supposedly creates an invisible third mind, a channel for greater intelligence and power.
Perfect harmony. That sounds difficult to achieve. Extremely. The conditions are strict. Absolute unity of purpose and motive, total secrecy regarding the group's inner workings, and unwavering loyalty among members. Outside of that very specific, very disciplined circle, silence is strength. Within it, shared speech, aligned speech, becomes creation. Extremely. The conditions are strict. #tag outro. Wow, okay, this has been a really deep dive into a quite structured, almost regimented path to success. If we boil it all down, the core message seems to be that success isn't random. It's not luck.
Not at all. It's presented as a pattern, a habit, a daily rhythm you build through deliberate, repeated belief, focused speech, consistent action, and fiercely guarding that entire process from your own fear and from the dilution of careless talk. It really aims to be the definitive answer to that opening question. The wealthy aren't necessarily working harder in terms of hours, they're just operating according to these specific mental laws.
Exactly. And perhaps the final thought to leave everyone with, something really provocative from the source material, centers on that power of keeping your mouth shut.
Okay.
Most men, it says, never realize how many of their dreams have been buried not by the enemy without, but by the friend within, the friend who could not keep his own mouth shut.
Wow. That's quite the closing statement. It is. The final challenge is clear. Choose silence and dedicated action over the fleeting satisfaction of validation and talk. Let your results ultimately do all the talking for you.